Hudepohl King of Bowling, next.
Welcome back to the Hudepohl King of TV Bowling. I'm Tom Brenneman. My first day on the job. A couple of folks making it easier. Bo Hudepohl and David Newrath. Bo, now Stones Lanes here in Norwood holds a distinction in the Hudepohl King of Bowling.
They certainly do. The only 300 game rolled on the King of Bowling was right here at Stones Lanes on Easter Sunday in 1975 by Bob Dieters.
Like to see a couple of those today. David, tell us about our first match.
Well, the first match should be an exciting one. We're going to see a couple of contradicting styles. Mr. Harber, on one hand, very well schooled, no frills bowling, but produces big results, low at the line, good release point. Second player we're going to be looking at is a guy I've had a pleasure to bowl against and with for many, many years, David Forwood. David has a unique style, extremely low backswing, keeps the ball in play almost all the time, and he's a good spare shooter.
All right, that and much, much more on the Hudepohl King of TV Bowling. Stay with us.
Hudepohl, King of Bowling. Brought to you by the Hudepohl Brewing Company, America's great small brewery.
Welcome back to the Hudepohl King of TV Bowling. Tom Brenneman, Bo Hudepohl, and David Newrath. Glad to be with you on this Sunday morning in week number 5. Doug Harber and David Forwood. David Newrath, a good match coming at us.
Hopefully it's going to be. I know the young men provided us with a fantastic match, bowling well over their average. Doug's game has been at the top recently, and he starts out with a perfectly thrown shot.
Dave, how important is it to start off? I mean, of course, you know, you always like to get that strike under your belt, but I mean, what's it do for you on TV? Now, these guys are no strangers to TV. We'll get back to that later, but it's got to be nice to get right off the chute.
Well, that's right, Tommy. The optimum position is to do what Doug just did. Get up, throw one great shot, and then sit down and let your opponent stew about it a little bit. As you saw David going to the right there, going wide. He left the 4-8, and this is not the easiest spare in the world to pick up. There's room to chop in there, Tom.
Well, Bo, when we were talking about, we just mentioned these guys are no strangers to TV bowling. They certainly are not.
That's for sure. David has actually been our king in 1981 3 times, in 1986 2 times. And Doug Harber has been our king 3 times, 1979 and 1980.
You question the value of a quick start, Tommy. You're going to see it right here. David went to the right, leaving the 4-pin opening. He has a 9-pin count in the first frame. His opponent has a strike. Now, that can be developed into a 21-pin advantage in the first frame alone. David's job is to unearth himself and get back in the match. There's one of your favorites, Bo.
The bucket.
The 2, 4, 5, 8. Again, difficult. Has a lot of chopping possibilities. And maybe I put the Newrath factor negative again in predicting David's good spare shooting game in the first frame. But he really is. He's a player. He's a grind-out bowler. And he can throw strikes with the best of them. 2, 4, 5, 8. Has to make it just like that if you want to.
Nice way to pick it up indeed. And well, there he goes, kind of covering his chest, saying, had to have that one. And now the guy, Doug Harber, who started off his first frame, as David mentioned, with a strike, stepping into the second.
He's in a great position to really put the pressure on his opponent. Now the left-hand lane, dropped a pin, dropped the 4-pin, and he's going to be re-racking before he gets up over there again. Doug Harber, striking the first, his opponent open, can really put the pressure on with a strike here.
Tough shot right there. How tough is this to pick up, David?
Tommy, the 1-2-10 is a pretty difficult spare, but the way you can make it most often is to take your normal strike shot. There you see it, the 1-2, and the 10 to the right, is to take your ball and hit it just to the left of the center pin on your screen and throw that pin into the 10 and the ball carries through into the 2. Let's watch. Not even close.
Now, it looked, David, like he came up awfully wide right there. You mentioned you want to go left. What did he do?
I don't think Doug played the head belly or head oil properly that time, Tommy, and it caused this ball to go way too far to the right. He does throw a nice, strong ball on the back end, but you want to cut down the amount of hook, if at all possible, when shooting your spares because it's more predictable.
Bo, we've got some more qualifying going on today out at Coleraine.
That's correct. This is the week that the youth have actually stopped qualifying there. They will be bowling finals there next week, but the adults are still there and the ladies are still there. And there's no 4:30 shift today. Oh, Tom Murphy, our proprietor here at Stones Lanes.
Tom's wondering what happened here as Doug went wide, leaving the 2, 4, 8, 10. You thought the last one was tough? Tommy, that was nothing compared to this one. Incredibly difficult spare. That's about the only way you can make it, and then you really have to throw the ball harder to bring the 1 pin out of the pit.
Well, there's Sue Durkin and Joey, my partners at Lusanaville.
A couple of ladies enjoying the action on this Sunday morning on the Hudepohl BPA King of Bowling.
Advantage swings right back to this man, David Forwood, and he takes advantage of it, Tommy. A great, great shot.
Now, David, for a guy we mentioned, of course, he got off to the rough start, but then Doug Harber certainly didn't help himself those last 2 frames, so he's right back in this match.
Doug was in the optimum position to put it on David, but what did I say about David? He's a scrapper, he's a street fighter, he never quits, and you open up to him early in the match, you've got some problems. David Forwood, left lane, smells an advantage. And he almost created a terrible situation with a bad 7-10. Let's look at it here on the split screen situation. Watch David's reaction in the left side of your screen. On the right, we're going to see the ball hit the head pin, center your screen, and deflect to the right. Right there. See it jump to the right? The pins are mixing up. He has a 7-10, but the scout took the 10. He scouted it out. 7-pin, cross lane for a spare.
Nice body English on that one, too. Wanted to get it down, and hey, he picks up the spare right there. Nice job by Mr. Harber. Or Mr. Forwood, rather. Excuse me.
That's all right. I bet if he wins a match, you could call him anything you wanted, and he wouldn't care.
Would not care a little bit. But we've got some hardware sitting right here in front of us today.
We certainly do.
Awfully nice hardware indeed.
A few 300 rings. We've had a few rolled this year. One of them has a name on it rather familiar to the air, Dave Newrath.
What?
Old one. Your ring's here, David.
All right.
And we've got one for Dick Vogelsang, but we'd like to talk about his accomplishments when he's bowling his match.
Well, don't let David kid you there, folks at home, because he has been asking Bo about when he's going to get that ring for a few days,
Tom.
and now it is finally here. Bo,
That's
I
right.
can't believe he would play it off like that. Oh, really? One for me here. Okay, David.
That's false humility. The 2-8, again, difficult spare after difficult spare. The sleeper causes a problem, Tommy. You have to hit this pin just to the right of center. There you go. The optimum way to chop it, you have to hit it just to the right of center or dead center. That ball hooked off so sharply on the back end. That ball hooked off so sharply on the back end that it actually went to the left. Let's take a look at it here on the replay. Now watch, if it would go straight right there, he'd make it, but watch, the pin's going to go to the right, the 2-pin. The ball's going to deflect off of it, miss the back pin, the 8-pin, by a couple of inches.
We mentioned in our Youth King of TV Bowling, it is indeed a game of inches. He's had some tough spares, David, you mentioned.
Well,
Oh, my gosh.
unbelievable.
All right.
His first break in the match, and he better not hope for anyone ever big. He's smiling. He likes it. Let's watch it here. These pins are going to be following a terrible shot, way wide again. Barely touches the head pin. Center your screen, just knocks it over. Now he's looking right now at exactly what he had last frame on that lane. But look, out of the pit, little domino action. Huh?
In a big way indeed.
He went from a sure open frame to a spare.
A fine piece of bowling right there from Doug Harber.
You know, this morning we had our normal roll-off. If you're not familiar with it, since you haven't been with us for very long, we hope to have you a long time, by the way. The low man from Saturday, our second qualifier from Saturday, and our second qualifier from Sunday's men's division, roll-off on each Sunday morning determined who's going to be on the show. And Doug Harber did win the match this morning by 100 pins over his opponent. He shot a 243.
So he is on a roll right now, and a roll indeed. Nice shot right there, David.
It's fantastic. David smells victory, and if he keeps throwing shots like this, there's nothing to say here, Tom. Absolute perfection. 10 pins in the pit. That's the way you want to do it. David Forwood is in the driver's seat. We saw the score sheet last frame, and if you were quick enough to pick it up, you looked at a 23-pin lead. This man, 23-pin lead, lined up on the right lane, still a little uncomfortable with lane 17.
But you know, the thing is, David, is when David Forwood is being left with these spares, they are relatively easy spares to pick up on the other side of the coin. That has not been the case for Doug Harber.
Exactly right. The 610 is a choppable spare, but relative to the type of spares Doug Harber's been leaving, you bet they're easy. Okay, I guess the negative new RAF factor's back, Bo.
David,
geez.
we had you straightened out.
I know. The ball went too wide. He took the 10 to not play the chop. He chopped it. It seems, what did I do there? I sure thought I had that, dude.
Well, Bo, the King is not the only tournament going on in town right now. Is that correct?
That's correct. The various BPA centers in the Cincinnati area do conduct their own in-house tournaments, and Stones Lanes will be hosting their annual mixed couples tournament in March, and I think it runs every Saturday and Sunday through June. They can call Kay Meeker here at the lanes if they'd like to make a reservation.
Boy, now that would be a lot of fun.
Critical frame. He's got to get back in the match. We're going to see it here. Good shot. He's trusting the ball again, going right over the second arrow of the 10th board. Now, this ball delays a little too long, but the great action of the 10 pin off the wall. You see it right there. Nudging the 4 into the 8, and then taking out the 7. Doug Harber's not out of here yet.
Well, that missed spare by David Forwood could have opened the door.
You bet it could, Tom. With a strike here, he could close the lead to 1 pin. Unbelievable. We are going to show you a shot that I can't even believe. Let's take a look here. This ball has so much activity on it, Tommy, it's going to take pins everywhere. Now, the last pin you're going to see standing up is a 9 pin. Let's see if we can pick up what knocks it down. It's the 2 pin right there, coming off the wall, cross body block into the fantastic shot.
Think he was excited about that?
I don't know if he was, but I sure was excited about it.
Well, David, you've nailed a few of those in your time like that, I'm sure.
Once in a while. Mine are pretty boring, but not as... This match is tightened up. Tommy, look at it. 66 in the 5th for Doug Harber. Double working. If he strikes here, it gives him 96, 1 pin back of David Forwood. We got a new game.
Indeed we do, and David Forwood stepping up right now on the left side.
This is the lane that's been giving him trouble.
No trouble at all right there.
Fantastic. This is bowling, Tommy. This is what it's all about. Match play competition. The score means nothing. These guys want to win.
You know, we mentioned that they were qualifying at Coleraine Bowl today, and yesterday's 2 qualifiers have been determined. Don Hughes rolled a 719 to be our high qualifier yesterday.
My teammate.
Yeah, Ron Bonnert, our friend who wears a really neat hat, tall Ron, 668. And 606 is cashing for the men.
I tell you what, you're going to see reaction here off of Doug and his ball. He is in this match. Doug he's very unemotional, basically a laid-back kind of guy, but he's running this one out. He's going to your right now. The ball's going left. Head pin's going to the wall. It's a can opener.
We have seen a strange kind of a match in this one, Dave. We had a few tough breaks early on, but now these guys are really starting to pump it up a little bit.
Well, Bo, when was the last time both contestants were on TV? Did they say that?
Well, we've got 86 and 80. Doug Harber is actually the longest from being on.
And David, before the match, I asked him, he was actually more nervous, he said, about this match than anyone that he can remember.
Well, he may have showed that early, but he's certainly not doing it right now.
Not at all.
There's a lot of talent on the lanes today. These bowlers are basically our scratch bowlers, as you can note. Dave Forwood has a 207 average. Doug Harber, 205. That's scratch. They're capable of shooting numbers.
Terrible shot in the worst possible frame that you'd want to make it. Let's take a look at it on the replay if we can. Critical frame, you want to strike to keep your 1-pin lead. David Forwood right here comes up off the shot. You see him standing straight up in the air. Their ball never goes into a roll. Takes the 3-pin straight back, takes the 6 into the channel, leaving the 1, 2, 4, 10. Got to have it to have a shot. Just missing.
He looks a little disappointed at that. It almost looked like he got it.
He wanted to come out, but watch it here. The head pin, he needed about another ½ inch of the head pin. It goes to the channel. It tries to climb out right there, but the belly catches the edge of the lane, goes back in. David Forwood is extremely vulnerable right here. He needs to double in the 10th to force Doug to mark.
You know, Stones has the distinction of the only 300 on TV. They also have the distinction of hosting the oldest sanctioned league in Greater Cincinnati. Can you believe it? On Monday nights, the league, this is their 87th season, and Hall of Famer Hank Hetz is the president this year.
Oh, if you say it, I believe it.
Can you believe it? 87 years.
Well, he picks up the spare right there. Now, David, how do you see the rest of this match shaping up? What has Doug got to do?
Doug's got to keep his nose clean, and that's about it. David Forwood with the critical, as we look at the score there. If David goes out with with a strike, that'd be 171. And Doug Harber, all he would have to do is get any kind of a count to be our winner. He does not even have to mark. I think a 5 count would win it for him. Let me do some quick tabulations here. I got to get my shoes off, Tom.
While you're tabulating, can I mention that Bernie Bernhardt is leading the women's division at Cole Rainbow right now with a 598, and 586 is cashing for the ladies.
We will look forward to the ladies coming up in just a couple of weeks right here on the Hudepohl King of Bowling, King and Queen of Bowling. Let me change that around a little bit. We are at Stones Lanes right here in Norwood. And match play starting to heat up, and it looks like this guy, Doug Harber.
It's official.
It's well. Thank you very much.
As long as he doesn't hit his ankle twice, you're looking at our winner right here. Doug Harber bowled a great come-from-behind victory, leaving the 1-2-10. Really doesn't make any difference. The game belongs to this man, but I'm sure he'd like to bring back the spare to keep the excitement up.
The new wrath factor could have come into play right there. David, how can you do that to somebody? You've been on the negative end today, and then you dare say such a thing as hit his ankle twice. That's not fair.
I don't know. What can I say? It's just my mean nature coming out sometime.
Well, he doesn't pick up the spare, but David, you mentioned it. He does get the win. He will pick up a $150 money prize.
For Forwood.
Dave Forwood.
For David Forwood. Our next match will be coming up next. Stay with us on the Hudepohl King of Bowling.